Please welcome Fabio Sisinni, Jehan Damji, and Rob Melly to the stage.
Good morning. I know it's early, it's 10:45 on a Saturday, so that still counts as early. So I'm sure more people will be trickling in. There were some awesome developer parties yesterday, so thanks for being here. My name's Jehan Damji, otherwise known as Fields of Gold. I'm here with Rob Melly, who leads our avatar product, and Fabio Sisinni, who leads our overall marketplace. And we're gonna talk a little bit about monetizing avatar creations. One question we often get asked is, should I be investing in avatar content? We opened up creation in April, and people constantly ask this question. We're pretty biased, and our answer, of course, is absolutely. But we want to share with you guys some of the data we look at that convinces us that the reason is for sure. Every day, 18 million people come to Marketplace to shop and style their avatars. On top of that, 2 out of the 3 spenders on Roblox spend on avatar content. And that translates to 527 million paid transactions in H1 of 2024, which is an 11% growth year over year. When you put this together, Manuel mentioned yesterday in his keynote that this translates to 61% year-over-year growth in creator earnings, which is more money in creators' pockets. But when you double-click on that, because of improvements like dynamic price floors, better personalization, and more ways to shop, the number of creators earning at least 50,000 Robux per month increased 85% year-over-year. And for nearly 15,000 avatar creators we have, the median earns 1,500 Robux per month. What really excites us is we're seeing this kind of growth on the heels of one of the biggest changes we've made in Marketplace in recent years, which was opening up creation. We've seen 4,800 new creators come to the platform, which is a 5x increase since March. And those new creators are starting to make inroads, capturing 8% of earnings. But it's not just the data that excites us. It's actually when you talk to these new creators and they tell us their story of how they are getting started on Marketplace, that's what really, really motivates us. Because one of the reasons for opening up creation was to bring more economic opportunity to everyone on the platform. We recently talked to one of those creators, Rosa, and they told us their story of being a new creator on the platform. They said, I just launched my hairstyles group and immediately started uploading a ton of different hairstyles. And the group pretty much took off. It really motivated me. And when we hear stories like this, it actually really motivates our team to put our best foot forward and continue building for you all. But we also owe a lot to the existing creators that have been on our platform for so long and have helped us make Marketplace what it is today. When we look at their growth, we saw 30% increase year over year in earnings from that group in March. And after opening up creation, we've accelerated that to 50% year over year. The big takeaway here is whether you're new or old, big or small, now is an amazing time to be investing in Marketplace. So with that, I'll pass it to Rob, who's going to talk a little about how you can start creating on Marketplace.
Thank you, Jehan. Jehan showed some really amazing numbers that should be convincing to anyone to come build avatar content and monetize on Roblox. But in able to participate in this marketplace, you have to be able to build avatar content. And I want to highlight 2 big things we recognize inside of the company. The first is that fundamentally making avatar content is difficult. And the second is that your workflow will span multiple tools. It's not just inside a studio, but it's also through external DCC tools like Blender and Maya, or other specialized tools like Substance Painter. And we want to make the entire process easy. We want to enable you to create and recognize your vision wherever you work. And so we've shipped some really exciting features over this year, and we're going to continue to invest in this area. Over the last year, we've released GLTF import, which is a richer format for importing avatar content. Through our live link packages feature, we have enabled a direct DCC integration with Blender, which enables you to work with Blender on one screen and live update content inside of Studio on the other. And we have a third-party company, Daz3D, that is now on the dev forum and has released their own direct integration that will enable you to iterate between Studio and external tools. We encourage you to check out these tools or build your own integration for your tool of choice. And inside of Studio, we want you to be able to customize, preview, and understand your content, make sure that it represents what you want it to be on the platform, and get everything perfect before you upload it. And for this, we're building the avatar preview tool, where you can preview any content on any kind of body, you can play back animations, and you can do all of your workflow checks before you publish this content. Also inside of Studio, we are trying to automate all of the boring parts of your workflow that you don't want to do. And here we highlight a tool that we're calling Avatar Auto Setup, which is intended to take in any representation of your creative intent, whether that be a raw mesh, whether that be a fully rigged avatar body with clothing and everything coming out of an external tool, or whether that be just a pile of rocks inside of the data model. We want to be able to turn that into a fully fledged platform-compatible avatar for you. And so you can do anything that you want to do. You can indicate your vision in any way you want, and we will automate all of the rest of the process that isn't important to you. We're really interested in your feedback on this tool, so if you've used it and you have feedback, please come to the Avatar booth and tell us. And beyond avatar bodies, we also have a dedicated tool for accessory fitting. This allows you to test hats, jackets, backpacks, anything that you want. We intend to integrate this with the avatar preview tool, so you have a single tool and a single workflow inside of Studio that serves all your needs. And we are also investing in the creator dashboard, so you can upload and manage your content. You can check and set prices, you can look at analytics, you can understand what is selling well and what the trends on the platform are, and you can optimize your content to feed into the massive marketplace that we're building. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back to Jehan to talk about the future.
Thanks, Rob. So let's say you are in Studio, you're using these awesome tools, making some great content, and now you want to publish to Marketplace. Let's maybe quickly talk through 3 must-know things you need when you're starting to build out in Marketplace. So first thing you should think about is, do I want my item to be limited or non-limited? Limited just means the item has fixed quantity, and non-limited means there's unlimited quantity. A strategy we see a lot of creators do is they create one item with multiple colors, and some colors they'll make non-limited, and other colors that are more unique they'll make limited. In fact, this is actually a very common strategy that fashion brands do. The next thing is pricing. So with the introduction of dynamic price floors, our price floors are constantly optimizing for creator earnings. When you set pricing, you're actually setting a peg against the price floor. So in this example, let's pretend the price floor is 30. You'd set a price based on how much you want your item to be always above the price floor. So if you wanted to be 10 above the price floor, you'd set 10, and your item be priced at 40 Robux. We see creators that want to have a more premium feel to their items, priced above the price floor, but they also use another feature which is optional, which is the minimum sales price, which basically means I never want my item to be below a certain price. In this example, the minimum sales price is 25. So the price floor moved to, say, 5 Robux. It wouldn't be 5 plus 10, the peg, which is 15. It'd never go below the 25 that you've set. Finally, we have distribution. This is all about where you want your items to be discovered. To maximize reach, you can use Marketplace and all experiences. And when you publish to Marketplace, you're also eligible for today's picks. You can also publish only in your experience. A common strategy we see creators doing is they want to drive people to their experience to engage with their content. So they'll sell avatar items only in their experience. So people will come, engage with that avatar content, and also engage with their experience. That's a quick 101 on publishing. So let's spend a moment or two talking about some upcoming things that were highlighted yesterday in the keynote. Last year at RDC, we launched Creator Analytics, and in the coming months, we're going to be further improving what you can learn about your items. We plan to give you more detailed insights around who buys your items, such as demographics and what platforms they buy from. Also, as you leverage different distribution strategies, you'll also be able to drill down to where your items are selling and change those strategies accordingly. And finally, we know how cumbersome it can be to see how your item's doing against the publishing advance, so we'll be making a simple UI so you can track how your items are doing against recouping that publishing advance. The last thing I want to talk about is around helping creators merchandise avatars. So Rob talked about all these awesome tools we're making for creation of avatars, but we're also investing a lot in how you can merchandise your avatar in Marketplace. When we talk to creators, they have a vision of what their avatar should look like and what they want to sell. And that vision isn't just a body with a modesty layer and a head. It's a body, an avatar with a style, with a look, with clothing on top of it. That's why later this year, we're going to bring this capability to creators, where they can not only create bodies, but they can put clothing, accessories, and fully merchandise these bodies on our marketplace in the vision that they believe that it should be merchandised in. For now, creators will get a sharing link that they can share out to their community, and these merchandise avatars will be available in a special recommendations unit called avatars. Over time, we expect to increase the surfaces that this appears both in Marketplace and outside of Marketplace. I'm really excited about this feature, but I'm also really looking forward to seeing the creativity of the community continue to propel Marketplace to new heights. So with that, I'll pass it to Fabio, who's going to be having a great Q&A with some amazing developers.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Fabio Sisinni, and I work in product in the Marketplace. I have the pleasure to moderate our panel of avatar creators. So I want to invite on stage our creators, WhoseTrade, Jazzy, and Mark from MonsterCat. First of all, I want to thank you for participating in the panel. And I want to start asking you to tell us about yourself and what got you into creating avatar items.
Sure. My name is Mark. I work at MonsterCat. I'm part of the Sync and Partnerships team over there. MonsterCat is one of the more influential indie labels in the space. We have worked with and championed a number of really great projects with some of the top artists around the world, including Marshmello, Cascade. We recently did a campaign with Alan Walker, Diesel, whom you might better know as Shaquille O'Neal, Whipped Cream. The list goes on and on. But on top of that, we're obviously very endemic in gaming. Throughout our over decade of being a label, we've had a few kind of core pillars that we focus on. One is being curious. Two is being an industry leader. The third is always trying to prop up artists and promote artist sustainability. It's very important to us, both musicians and visual artists as well. And then the other thing is obviously video games, which is why we're all here. So, to kind of show that we have been endemic in gaming, we worked with a lot of the top brands and other games, including Rocket League, Smite, Fortnite. Yeah, I know. But just to show that as a brand, we work with other brands as well. So we're very in tune. But in terms of gaming and Roblox in general, we've been on the platform for about 4 years now. We provided in 2020 50 tracks to developers to use in their games for free, just to try and allow them to be creative and get access to more recognizable artists. That catalog's about 150 now. We've worked with experiences as well directly, including Royal High and Robeats. In fact, we have a Robeats campaign coming up next week as well. And then in terms of UGC, we've been releasing our merchandise as 2D assets and 3D assets for avatars for the last couple of years. We even worked with WhoseTrade on some one-of-one pendants that we did, and at the time we had the highest single item UGC sale at just over 1 million Robux. That's changed now, but we're still in the top 5, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm just really excited to be here and talking avatars with you guys.
Thank you, Mark. Jazzy?
Yeah, my name is Jasmine, also known as JazzyX3. I've been 3D modeler, but I've been doing UGC since 2019. Since being a UGC creator, I've created thousands of items, and I've also worked with brands such as Forever 21, Honda, and a couple others. And yeah, that's basically just short.
I am WhoseTrade. I joined in 2008. I've been a creator ever since then. And I got over 20 million sales, and I've worked with those great brands up there. And yeah, that's all I have.
John, why don't we start with you from that side? I think you were able to really create your personal brand on Roblox. Can you tell us how did you do it?
Yeah, so this is like really not a hard thing, but I was myself. I am very passionate about the marketplace, about Roblox, so it was very easy for me to just, build a brand about being myself and just, having fun.
Right. Jesse, I noticed you kind of changed your type of items that you create in the last period. Can you tell us about how you evolved your style?
Yeah, so over the years, when I first started UGC, it was like during the holidays, so I just started making like holiday items, try to find like where my style is or where it's at. I think it didn't really solidify until like UGC Limiteds came out, and I started building a community and seeing that the type of items that they like, testing the waters, kind of seeing what people are into. Sorry. Yeah, so it was interesting to just see how my style just developed over time, and just yeah.
Good. What was a kind of trying different type of product, trying different items, and see what resonated with the audience?
Yeah, just kind of I'll upload something and see like if it will like. I'm not sure.
Oh, cool. Mike, you guys have been building a digital brand, one of the few digital brands that are very recognizable. There's a logo in most of your products. I'm just curious about how you strategically thought about like creating a strategy to really build your brand.
Yeah, I mean, like we've been around for over a decade, and what was really important to us from the inception of the company was, we wanted to create a community and a platform that would help empower and lift up artists, musicians, visual artists, what have you. So we put a lot of thought into, how we built our brand. We created stories, lore, just different ways to get people to want to engage and feel like they're part of a community. So it's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears from a lot of people on the team. But what we have created has really kind of, I think, separated us from a lot of the other labels out there and brands even that try to engage on platforms like Roblox, just simply because we've created that tight-knit community that wants to help and MonsterCat succeed, but at the same time, the artists that we work with.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. One question that I have, I think probably a lot of people in the audience are asking, what advice would you give to a new creator?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think if we're speaking specifically about Roblox and avatars and UGC items, I think you really need to spend time learning the quirks and the nuances of the platform. Especially as a creator, I think for me personally, and the people that I work with at MonsterCat, is understanding how publishing works, and then understanding how the software works. Because I'm not a technical person, but I was tasked with having to learn how to upload and publish the avatars that we were working with our creators. So one is that. The second thing is finding your personal style. WhoseTrade mentioned that as well, is like you really need to focus on finding that niche, because there's so much content out there. So it's really important to figure out a way to be different and stand out.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that.
Sure.
So about finding your style, sometimes the community can help you find that style. Like they will suggest like certain items or certain like combinations as you upload, and it helps like brings in like that connection. Like you don't feel so separated, or it feels like that you're working with them or working like. I believe like you've done that with your social media platform.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was just going to add too, is that community is like super critical. Like I mentioned in my intro as well, building a community that feels, part of what you're doing is going to empower them, and then in turn, that's going to help them kind of drive what you want to create, but it's also going to help them prop you up as well, and raise yourself up above the rest.
And Jonathan, any advice for new creators?
Create what you are passionate about, and like players, like Roblox is a very diverse platform with a lot of players who share a common passion as you do. And then on the flip side, do not be afraid to fail. Some like the products might not do great. You like them. You got to keep on evolving, and just keep up.
Right.
Yeah, just to add to that, sometimes the items take time to marinate in the marketplace. Like maybe it's not trending now, but maybe it might be trending, maybe months later. So
Yeah, for sure.
if you upload an item, and don't be afraid to see like if it has 0 sales. Maybe it will take time to just, get the word out there.
It's happened to me before.
Cool. To get a bit more tactical, I'd love to know like. What do you do to drive traffic to your items at the moment you publish them?
Who's that directed?
Let's start with Jonathan.
Okay.
I use a lot of social media, such as Twitter, and I built up a audience where I can just post my new releases, and people will just want to buy them, wear them, share them, and that is like really a very key part about the platform. It's just building a community.
Yeah, for me, I started with social media with Twitter, but over time I just, I recruited who I wanted through social media, but then I kind of grew the community just naturally after that initial like shout out, like here, this is my server, and then over time it was just kind of like finding like what do they like, and seeing like now what they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, and we've had years of practice as a label, but what we've learned is that you need to kind of socially engineer excitement sometimes. We spun up a brand new Twitter account when we jumped into UGC properly, and we did a campaign for our shoulder plushie, which was essentially going to be like a membership item. And we had people on Twitter basically engage with that post to determine the amount that we were going to release. And it went over 100,000. But in doing that, we got a lot of people talking about what we were trying to build. So we've built a lot of that into our social campaigns around any releases that we do with artists. We have having a plan instead of winging it is definitely helpful. So.
Talking about a brand and partnership with creators, Mark, this is a question more for you. How do you pick the creators that you work with in your partnership, and what criteria do you use?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have any set parameters, and we also just don't go for try to reach out to the top artists that might be like the cream of the crop. For us, we look for what is the project that we're trying to do. And then we try to identify the creator that best kind of like meets the aesthetic and the feel. There was a campaign we did with Genozi, and Genozi has like a super unique style, very like it's very special. And when we started working with him, we let him kind of take the direction of like what assets we wanted to create. That's not our area of expertise. We want to communicate to his audience, and then we provided like like basic brand guidelines, but nothing too restrictive. So yeah, like in terms of working as a creator with brands, I think it's just putting yourself out there, and a brand, if they have a specific campaign, is gonna try and identify the right person, and you might fill that need for them. So it's as easy as that. I don't know, but.
I have a question for Jonathan and Jasmine. Instead, you guys work with brands for some collaboration. I'm curious of what was your experience working with brands? How you started working with brands, and how do you try to stay true to your kind of style at the same time, working with the brand's requirement and aspirations.
Yeah, funny story for me. I didn't get contact directly with the brand, but it was with a developer I knew, and they were working with a brand, and then it was with Forever 21. So that was my first time working with any type of brand work, and they had us make they allow us like some creative freedom. On some items, it was like an exact replica, but other items they had allowed us to create our own, mix. So I had an experience with creating this beanie for Forever 21, and I didn't expect it to like sell that much, but it's so like I don't know the exact numbers, but it sold a lot to the point where Forever 21 made it like into an actual item in their store, which is definitely a great experience. What was the other part of the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. How do you, I'm talking about when you kind of working with those brands.
Oh, yeah.
How do you stay true to your style and at the same time, working with the brand's requirement?
Well, I guess you have to stay true to what they want and also mix your style, but communicate back and forth to make sure that both parties are happy with what the item looks like. So I think that process is very important, because you don't want either side or either party to feel like they're just working just to work.
Yeah, so whenever I work with a brand, you got to remember that the brands are coming to you because you are the pro within the on the platform, and typically they really trust your
Like our judgment.
insights. Yeah. And more often than not, they really want to be authentic to the players community. So they will let you kind of take them reins and just guide the ship.
Mm-hmm. Good to know. Last question for you. I mean, let's talk about pricing. How do you decide what price you're gonna choose for your item?
I mean, it takes a lot of research. I know sometimes people will just kind of choose a price in their head, and that's what they're going to do. For us, we spend a lot of time doing market research. We look at comparables. We look at our own catalog, what is performing. Did something underperform? Maybe we priced that too high. In terms of quantity, we think about scarcity, of course. I think there's something to be said for items that are unlimited. They're great entry, pieces for people, but the unlimited stuff is what gets collectors excited. We created a collector score system for all of our UGC. And we kind of played into the psychology of buyer FOMO and stuff like that. We even used the collector score to kind of gate some items as well. So it kind of created, the collectors that were, they wanted that item, they would go and find ways to get to the score that would then get them into a place and experience to get this new exclusive item. So, there's a lot that goes into it, but I think at the core, it's just market research and understanding your audience and understanding, your prices, based off of the amount of items that you have. So, yeah.
How about you, Jasmine?
I think for me, I just see, I test the waters with if it's a new item or a completely new style, I will upload that style first, see what price it will sell at, and then kind of gauge of if I need to put it higher or lower, or maybe sometimes if the item took so long to make, maybe I'll make it more expensive because it took a while to create that item. and also seeing like like common prices that your like our own community or your audience is buying at. I think that plays into like what price I'll set a certain item at.
Yeah, so for me, I try to keep the bulk of my items accessible to the typical player, so I make them affordable. But I've been known to make a few exclusive, expensive items, but those are like far and few between. But for the most part, I try to make them accessible.
Right. Well, this concludes our panel session. So I just want to thank you again. Please give it up to our creator. Thank you. Now we can kind of start a QA session. I think we have time for a couple of questions, so you guys can line up to the mic and then ask questions.
Hi, I'm Noah from Sawhorse. I just had a question around monetization for bundles. I see this like huge uptick in experiences that are just like bundled avatar items, and they get a rev cut. How's that going to work for people who get like a text message now with a bundle for sale?
So the question is, can you articulate better the question? So in terms of like, how does it work in terms of who gets what in terms of revenue?
Sure. Like, so currently, when a bundle gets sold in one of these avatar creator experiences, like the creator of the experience gets that cut, right? Now, like people are going to be seeing bundles in the shop. How does that? I assume a bundle creator is not made by necessarily like the UGC creator. The bundle's made by someone else who just came up with that outfit. Is that correct or is that not correct?
Yeah, so I think initially, again, this is kind of the first version of this, but initially this product's going to be available only to UGC creators. That doesn't mean that if you're a creator, you can't still use other items, but we're not changing any of the revenue share structure for this initial version. As we start to evolve this product, that's something we want to start exploring.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Ground on that side?
Hiya, I'm Morphopalides from Cinder Studio, and this talk today has inspired me to make UGC today, so I'd like to thank WhoseTrade, Jazzy, and Juicetra for this talk. It means a lot. I just wanted to know from each of you three, what would you recommend for a resource or tool for a beginner like me for UGC, particularly for like 3D modeling?
There are some great tutorial videos available on YouTube made by some great creators here. So I would just watch those and then learn.
Yeah, just to add on that, I would suggest maybe free programs, like free 3D modeling programs to start off with. Don't start off with something that's costly just because you're just starting out. Maybe play around with some tutorials, maybe basic tutorials about 3D modeling will help if you're not already into that. And then, trying to find maybe other UGC creators to talk to, because they have like certain studio plugins that help them, like making thumbnails, creating the lighting, certain tips that they, maybe it might be on the forum somewhere, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add to that. I'm not a creator myself, but just to echo what Jazzy just said, I would say just find a community of people that you can chat with and you can learn from, and you guys can lift each other up. Because, I once upon a time I created content on YouTube, and surrounding myself with like-minded people was like really critical to my learning, because I wasn't a video producer at the time, but I learned. So you gotta talk to people.
Amazing, guys. Thank you.
On that side?
All right, so towards the beginning of the talk, you guys were talking about the selling your UGC in experience on Marketplace, like how you, there's a drop down where you select where you want to sell it. Right now, you can sell limited items only in experience, not on the Marketplace, and we can't do that with regular UGC items right now. They have to be on the Marketplace and in specific experiences. I need to be able to sell UGC items only in a specific experience that are regular UGC, not limiteds. So is there any chance that that is going to be a feature soon?
Yes, we want to consolidate that.
All right, thank you.
Hi, so as a UGC creator, I really want to work with brands, but where do I start? I don't really know where to connect for brands because it really seems like a lot of brands like to work with people that they've previously worked with before, and I'd really love to collaborate with a brand someday. Do you have some tips on where I can get some connections for that?
Oh, okay. Also, I don't know if you saw the keynote yesterday, but they're going to be opening up the partnership brand program. Joining that has helped me tremendously after I did Forever 21. That has helped me look for other brands and other opportunities that I would like to work for. I don't know if you have experience with that program.
I just reach out to brands onto the platform who have already done stuff and they want to do more and they want to work with creators like you because you have a lot of valuable insights to bring and you have to just, reach out to them and hope for the best.
Yeah, one thing just to add, I know we're running short on time here, but I was going to say earlier as some advice is just to be bold and fearless. So kind of like what WhoseTrade is saying here is take the bull by the horns and engage with content, maybe branded content from that who you want to work with, and hopefully you'll be able to turn that and spin that up into a conversation around something. So
yeah, and I also like to add, if you see a UGC creator working with brands, maybe talk to them. Maybe they have connections themselves that's like, hey, they might be looking for other UGC creators,
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. I think we're out of time, but we're available on the booth, on the economy booth, if you have additional questions that we're not able to ask in this session. Thank you.